enforcement, they're now trying to build a case to ensure justice. That is the reality. Everything else is just clickbait designed to keep to make you feel like you're getting some sort of insider truth from a woman who wishes she was Mrs. Erica Kirk. She wishes she was named as the point woman in charge to lead TPUSA. That's how I feel. I told y'all that in my live stream the other day. She sounds like a jilted lover that is hell-bent on destroying what Charlie built because she's no longer a part of it. Could it be that she is just the lone wolf destroyer that wants to see TPUSA fail? Are we leaving room for the possibility of that? Could it be that she is the mouthpiece of deception? She's sowing mistrust while claiming that she's just asking questions. My question is, well, how come your questions have no definitive answers? And how come your questions make everyone question Charlie Kirk's pastor, who, might I add, spoke at his memorial, but you didn't? Why does it make everyone out to be the bad guy except for you? And when it comes to the Charlie Kirk case, the simplest explanation would be, listen, this is not some shadowy Zionist cabal or secret code hidden in Utah state flag concerning the bees, okay? What is known is that a deranged man murdered Charlie Kirk. Like, we all saw it happen. We saw that. All of that other stuff, well, it may come from the floor. There was no exit wound. So his wife is in on it too. She lying. When we heard her talk about the bullet and how it was retrieved and how Charlie Kirk's body stopped it, so she's making it up, is she? Here is why I've had to go on record about Mrs. Candace Owens Farmer, okay? I'm not making this personal. Okay, I'm an adult. I'm somebody's mama. Lord willing, someday soon I'll be somebody's meemaw, grandma, you know. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not interested in a cat fight. Okay, the Lord provides for me, so I don't need to create unnecessary controversy, because to add fuel to the fire right now is just not what's needed. However, I hate that it has actually come down to this. Okay, I've had disagreements with Candace in the past. I used to I held a leadership role within Blexic at one time, left Blexic for the very reason because of Candace, and never talked about it and told the soul. Still love Blexic. They know where my loyalty lies. They know that I am 10 toes down for the work that they are doing. And whenever they call me, if I'm able to, I show up. But for years, I've watched Candace's content. I've given her the benefit of the doubt, because I would hope somebody would do the same for me. Every now and again, some of us fall off the rails. You know, we might go a little bit too hard, or we might disagree and swim upstream in opposite direction of the prevailing narrative. So I get it. I know what it's like to have a position on something and to have to stand alone and everybody thinks you're crazy. I get that. I do. So I've given her the benefit of doubt. I have appreciated some of her commentary, a lot of her commentary. I will never take away the contributions that she has made to the conservative movement in terms of being brave and galvanizing lots of people behind a shareable narrative. But all of that can be true. But in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's assassination, her behavior and her vitriol has crossed a line. And I don't say this lightly, because I know how many people still like her. I get that. I'm not telling you to hate her. I don't hate her. I'd love to see her to come to saving faith in Christ alone. I'd love to see that for her. But this is an ideological disagreement, and then something other than we just disagree on this one sticking political point. What I am seeing is divisive, deceptive, and like I said, I've experienced rolling with a narcissist, so when I see it, I'm like, yep, this is not looking good. Now, contrary to how I see Candace moving, and I am sure that she would even agree with this. She may not admit it, but when it comes to content creation and monetization, I really do believe that there is enough out here for everybody. Y'all You guys have no idea how much independent media and content creation can be lucrative, especially if you are talented. But there's enough work out here for everyone. There's so much work out here to be done. There's so much for everyone to make an impact and to do something meaningful. But what I see Candace doing right now, like I said, is incredibly deceptive and it is dangerous. We have seen Charlie Kirk it's been 3 weeks? And Candace has released video after video, not to mourn Charlie Kirk, not to highlight all of his wonderful accomplishments and the things that he has done. I've not seen her make a video to stand with his wife, his best friend, Erica Kirk, but instead to monetize grief. That's what I am seeing. Instead of supporting actual justice for Charlie, she's muddying the waters with all of these open-ended investigations, all of these cryptic sources that never resolve. It's a steady drip of half-truths. Some are outright lies, lots of innuendo, all of this insinuation, and all of it is designed to keep people on the hook and frankly on her payroll. At first, I was like, you know what? I don't like pocket watching. I make content. I don't want to say this what it is. However, I said the only way for my assertion to be remotely plausible, we got to look at the analytics, right? So I said, okay, let's do it. So I need to show you guys something, okay? I've been doing just a little bit of research, a little homework, not a lot, but just enough. Just enough to make you ask questions. Since everybody want to ask questions these days, I want to ask some questions, okay? So, I know I'm short, so just do your best to try to see this. I pulled some analytics, and if you can see here at the bottom, 2023, all the way up to like April of 2024, what do you notice? Right? What do you notice? Well, what you'll notice is that the views, this is monthly gain views for Candace Owens, right? Prior to March of 2024, Candace's views were flatlined, okay? They were flatlined. She was sadly becoming irrelevant. I don't take pride in saying that. Like I said, I make content. I know this grind. It takes a lot of talent. It takes a lot of commitment. And it takes, you just have it or you don't. You either got it or you don't to keep people perpetually engaged and dialed in and tuned into what you have to say. So prior to March of 2024, her views were flatlined, okay? I mean, I didn't make these numbers up. This is, I mean, if you have any number of these services to kind of keep you dialed in of what's going on, you would have been able to pull this up. And so she was sadly becoming irrelevant. And in comparison to the numbers that she used to pull in, nobody was really tuning in. And when I say no, I'm not saying nobody. What I'm saying is in comparison to the following that she had, nobody was really tuning in. In my opinion, Candace needed a shock event to stay relevant after losing her Daily Wire salary. You see this dip right here in April? I pulled a timeline of when, just give me 1 second to pull it up. Oh, Lord have mercy. I got too much going on. Can I pull it up here? Maybe not. Let me see. I got to move some windows over. Oh, Lord. I got too many monitors. All right. Candace was at Daily Wire from late 2023 to early 2024. She was engaged in periodic controversy, but not a lot. No major independent content spikes. Okay, so that first the graphic that's on the screen now, you didn't really see much traction. Then, March of 2024, she's officially let go from the Daily Wire after repeated anti-Semitic remarks and conflicts with Ben Shapiro. Right there is when there was this sharp decline in views and subscriptions over the next month. So between April and May of 2024. Now, some insider baseball, whenever you see a dip like that, typically that means content is being scrubbed and removed and deleted, right? So, for example, you guys, I crossed over 100,000 subscribers months ago. Typically, when that happens, what are you supposed to get from the YouTube? You're supposed to get your silver play button, right? Do y'all see a silver play button here? No. The reason why I didn't get my silver play button is because in July of the previous year, I was promoting Vince Everett Ellison's film, Will You Go to Hell for Me? And in that trailer was imagery of a lynching. And I showed it on my platform and I got a strike for violating community guidelines. Do y'all remember when I was in YouTube jail for like a week? I couldn't post, I couldn't go live, I couldn't do nothing. Do y'all remember that? Well, what happened was I was so focused in wanting to promote that film that I figured I'm going to post this video anyway, but I'm going to edit it, right? I'm going to edit the video so that it's within the guidelines, but it's still the trailer. We edited the trailer, and when we got ready to upload it back to my channel, I did something stupid. I clicked the wrong file. I named the two files very similar, picked the wrong one, uploaded it to the channel, and YouTube gives me a strike. And they're like, you can't post, you in jail. You can't do nothing for a whole week. I was devastated. Then I'm thinking, okay, well, after some time, that'll fall off. Bygones will be bygones. I crossed over 100,000 subs. I'll be able to get my play plaque button thingy. Well, YouTube basically told me, you ain't never getting a plaque. Why? It wasn't that I violated the community guidelines that one time and got the slap on the wrist. I did they have like this little training class that you can go through to be like, I'm sorry, I had learned my lesson. I don't know what I was thinking. Amen, right? I took that class. But because I violated the same community guideline within 90 days of getting my first slap on the wrist, they were like, yeah, your channel's just not eligible. And they've been stringing me along all year. I've been applying, it gets rejected. And I'm trying to ask, why am I rejected? And then one person told me, oh, well, you have a few videos that have limited monetization. Just delete all of those. So this is why I'm telling y'all this. Because when you see a dip like that, typically it's because you're trying to clean up your channel and get rid of all of the offensive content where it's been demonetized. So I started deleting some videos, stuff that I was like, I didn't really care about, that I really wanted to talk about, but it ain't really had that many views anyway. So I just deleted the videos. Well, here's what happened with Candace. She started trying to clean up her content and she deleted a lot of content. Now, if I'm wrong, I will retract this statement, but that is the only explanation as to why you can't get negative views. How do you unwatch somebody? You can't. Content was deleted. When you see that sharp dip like that, that means views get extracted from your tally of accumulated views over time, right? So we see that sharp decline. Then in March of 2024, right after she's let go from the Daily Wire, Candace gets on the Brigitte Macron bandwagon. Okay? She begins pushing Brigitte Macron, the transgender conspiracy, on her own channel. Within 2 to 3 weeks, look what happened. Look what happened. This is April. May, Once she gets on the Macron bandwagon, massive spike in views. Massive spike. Okay? Massive spike, massive engagements, which equates to massive monetization. So here's what I did. I was like, okay, well, it seems as if she was able to carve out an audience that likes conspiracy theories, and she would take them on this never-ending ride that was enjoyable. I mean, if you was on that ride, you were enjoying it because you were always looking forward to the next one. Why am I bringing this up? This matters because she's got a history at this point of taking the Macron chick allegedly being a man is not Candace's idea. That idea has been swirling around from a book that was previously published, and Candace just took it to a whole nother level. Okay? So in my opinion, she needed a shock event to stay relevant after losing her Daily Wire contract, and the Macron conspiracy was her financial reboot. Why? Because the timing of her renewed engagement coincides perfectly with her public firing and then her first Macron videos. Now, we can pull this down. With the Macron suing her and Charlie Kirk's death in the headlines, now she's doubling down because the formula works. Grief, fear, attention equals revenue. But the minute she discovered her Brigitte Macron conspiracy, her views shot back up. So do you see this? That's a flatlined audience. And then bam, she finds a niche audience of people who are obsessed with fringe conspiracies. And then overnight, she's back on top. That is not a revival. That's opportunism. I ran the numbers. I get it. Listen, I told you, I make content. Every good content creator is going to look at their numbers and see what is it that people want to see. Well, then we should give them more of that. And when Candace was with the Daily Wire, her views were dropping faster than Kamala's poll numbers. But the minute she started attacking Brigitte Macron and spinning conspiracies, boom. You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to see the motive here. This is not some sort of revelatory information. It's just revenue. Her analytics tell the story. Have another one. This is monthly gained subscribers for Candace Owens. 2024 at the bottom, April. What happens in July on forward? This is monthly subscribers. I'm not making this up. I didn't even make this chart. Anybody can go and look for this information. The analytics tell the story. Flatline, controversy, explosion, lawsuit, and now we got a new cash cow, Charlie Kirk's death. When the money gets tight, the content gets crazy. This is not journalism. This is opportunism dressed up as discernment, and it leads nowhere. Nowhere. I'm not done. I'm showing a max view of gained video views from another source. They're all reporting the same thing. April 2024, flatline. Are we paying attention? And I mean, now that she's run her mouth, the Macrons have sued this woman, and as of late, the Macrons have amended their lawsuit just a couple of days ago. You guys, legal defense is expensive. And I'm not saying Candace is broke. Candace has plenty of money. But we have no idea how much it is going to cost for her to defend herself vigorously. And if she loses, she will need liquidity. She will need cash. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And I believe what she is doing is monetizing as much as she can. And Charlie Kirk's death is no exception. More videos, more conspiracies, more cliffhangers, more memberships, super chats, merch. Listen, I get it. I do this. This is all I do for a living. So I understand it. But these are her analytics. What do you notice? The views were tanking, she was flatlining, and then suddenly, boom, Brigitte Macron investigation, and the views shot back up. And there is a niche for these fringe conspiracies. And I believe she's cashing in. Let me be clear. I don't like pocket watchers. Pocket watchers are people who's watching other people's pockets. I don't like pocket watchers because I believe usually a person that's obsessed with how much somebody else is making is because they wish they were making what that person is making. For me, I prefer to keep my own head down and keep my head in the game and just get to work. Why? I ain't got time to worry about what somebody else is doing. It takes your head and your mind off of the focus of where it needs to be. But in this case, how the heck are we supposed to ignore how his alleged best friend is making hand over fist, not based on facts? If it was based on facts and truth, I'd be like, go ahead, keep the party going, sis. Expose it all. But it's based on rabbit trails. Whatever new rabbit trail she can take you on today, that's what it's about. And do you ever notice that the rabbit trail that you're on today, the next day, it's like, wait a minute, I thought we was here and now what? Wait, we need to go back. And you're so dialed in and you're so tuned in that you have been manipulated not even to remember, well, what was yesterday's rabbit trail? And whatever happened with that? Nothing ever happens with that. That is the backdrop. She wasn't in the demand like she was before, so she started making wild and crazy claims. That is my opinion. And it is based on the analytics, and I don't know what else to conclude. Trust me, I get it. I make content. And I have to guard my heart and check my own motives all the time. We all do. Unless you guys are on this side of the camera, you have no idea the pressure. You have no idea how hard it is to carve out an audience, to create meaningful and transformative content that people actually want to watch, and then balance all of that with integrity. It is not easy. Do you know how many videos people ask me to do? How much privileged information people send me, be like, can you go on your platform and say, I can't say that. No. I always have to say no. I can't cover everything. And it is truly a work of the Holy Spirit to do it and to do it well. But the timing lines up too perfect in this situation. I'm sorry, it just does. Tanking analytics, new salacious claims, lawsuit incoming, and now suddenly she needs cash to fund a very expensive legal defense. And how she's raising it by milking Charlie's death for clicks, super chats, and subscriptions. It's my opinion. That's what I believe. Money makes people do strange things. Desperation makes people do strange things. And then when you add the narcissism on top of it, a narcissist will do anything to stay relevant. They don't care. I've followed and been deceived by a narcissist before. I've been the object of narcissistic attacks. I know the patterns. I know it well. A narcissist will build a cult following by mixing just enough truth into a whole web of lies and got everybody over there just running. And they just all looking crazy. The stuff they come up with, you be like, y'all need help. You will wear yourself out trying to make sense of it all and to keep up with all their lies because it's a deceptive web of just wrongshiousness that they're weaving. I believe this woman she's deliberately ending every show on a cliffhanger, but then the next day, she never actually picks up on the outrageous thing that she said before. She has yet to address the Bibi Netanyahu letter that she confidently said was misrepresented. Her whole audience, her own audience is now holding her accountable by asking for clarification or retraction. It's almost like it never happened. I've even seen Brandon Tatum. God bless him. Now, that's his girl. That's his friend. And he's being a real good friend to her because he made a video and he didn't use her name, but he's like, all right, the letter is out. Let's look at the letter And this letter, in comparison to the claims that was made, somebody's lying. That's what he said. Somebody's lying. Go look at the video for yourself. I think it's either on the thumbnail or the title of the video. He like, somebody's lying. He's like, so you gonna do the right thing and come back and correct the record? Are you gonna do a retraction? Have we seen it? Has she talked about that letter at all? No, they never do. She did the same thing with this claim that Turning Point was about to bring her back on staff, which girl, where my flag on?
Flag on the plate.
That is an absolute false claim. She is delusional if she thinks that. She's delusional. That was not happening. In my opinion, that's a delusion along the same lines of her being Charlie's best friend as of late is a delusion. Early years, no one discounts that. But you was his best friend? How you best friends? You don't even follow your friend, your bestie don't follow you on no social media platform. Not X, Instagram. Charlie was going to bring you back. He didn't even follow you on no social media. Really? That's the story. That's what we're doing. Here's the scary part, though. Her followers never ask any basic questions. Nobody says, Candace, well, what evidence do you have that Charlie was praying the rosary? Like, where did you get a claim like that from? Or is anyone asked Candace, how do you know that TPUSA was going to bring you back? On what basis are you making that assertion? Let me be clear. Charlie was not on the verge of converting to Roman Catholicism. No. Charlie affirmed salvation by grace alone, through faith alone, in Christ alone, for the glory of God alone, all affirmed by scripture alone. Let's make that clear. Here's the kind of thing that Candace does. Like, I could drive past a Catholic church and remark, wow, what a beautiful building that is. Oh, that's just beautiful. I love pretty buildings. Candace gonna spin that into, well, April Chapman. She's converting to Catholicism. She was just at confession yesterday. How you get that from that? Just because I drive by a beautiful Catholic church and I say, oh, wow, that's a beautiful church. According to Candace, that means, April's going to confession. And she had just met with a priest, to discuss confirmation. Listen, y'all, once a narcissist builds a loyal following, truth don't matter no more. Evidence doesn't matter. The cult dynamic has kicked in. That is how the grift works. You take a detail, inflate it, turn it into a narrative, feed it to an audience who's too loyal and too undiscerning to question it anyway. And the results are clear. Okay? The Macron narrative and now the Charlie Kirk conspiracy are huge paydays compared to them tanking views. Did we see them flatline tanking views? Did we see it? I see it. Do we see it? The grift is real. Don't hate the player. You got to hate the game. I guess you just got to hate the game. But in this case, I got to mark and avoid the player because the circumstances of the grift, it's like, have you no shame? This is why the Apostle Paul said, watch out for those who cause divisions and create obstacles contrary to the doctrine that you've been taught. Avoid them. Why is such an admonition like that important? Because if you don't, you end up following someone who profits from your paranoia instead of a person that's trying to shepherd or at least disciple you and point you to the truth. Candace has released video after video, not to mourn, but in my opinion, to monetize. I know they both start with an M, but they're not the same. Instead of supporting justice for Charlie, we're getting the waters muddied. all of these open-ended investigations, all of these cryptic sources that never resolve. It's just a steady drip of innuendo and insinuation designed to keep people on the hook. And like I said, they got to stay on the payroll. I have noticed a pattern. You get very cryptic communication. She'll say, I've been told something big, but she won't name a name and she won't provide the evidence. She just says it. Then you get insinuation over accusation. She'll use they and them. We don't know who these they and them are. So like in your mind, you fill in the blanks. They and them is whoever you think you need they and them to be. So she's already now raised enough doubt. So who cares about the details? It's something we really got to consider that. That seemed like, if you squint real hard, it's always they and them. Or what about these moving goalposts? I'll reveal it Monday, but then Monday comes and we get even more fog. Like we're just like, ugh. I can't see. You can't see. Not to mention, there's a whole lot of undermining of due process. I don't know who this chick thinks she is, but where does she get off demanding that the police and the FBI release all the evidence mid-investigation? Who does that? You risk a mistrial, first of all, and it's jeopardizing actual justice, but this your best friend that you care about. She has gone mad. I'm sorry. Who does that? Why do we owe you all of the demanding answers to the questions that you seek in the middle of an investigation? Is anyone going to ask that that would kind of jeopardize the investigation if the prosecutors have to bring this to trial and they don't want an acquittal, they want a guilty verdict, they need all the evidence they can get. Y'all keep forgetting this boy got to go to trial. Like they just don't get to be like, hey, off with you, and we ain't gonna hear from him again. There's gotta be a trial. He's gotta be judged by a jury of his peers. Evidence. We have to see some evidence. I get the distrust. I understand it. But to tell the audience that everybody's corrupt and then monetize their outrage with memberships and super chats and all this exclusive content is a bit much, in my opinion. Y'all, none of this is courageous. Saying that, we need to protect Candace as if she's speaking the truth. No, she's not speaking truth. This is a content strategy. It is textbook psychological manipulation with a side of monetization. I happen to have some very, very smart and wise friends. And I learned about this concept called Occam's razor. And Occam's razor is a very simple, where basically the simplest, most probable explanation is usually the right one. And when the simplest, most obvious explanation for this and the Macron, the Charlie Kirk is usually, I'm probably right. But here's the deal. I'm not trying to leave you guys with just speculation and then it's like, well, it's not my fault that they believe that. I'm providing you some concrete numbers that coincide with the two most watched and heavily monetized pieces of content that this woman has put out. The simplest explanation here is this is about revenue and a content strategy. And when it comes to the Charlie Kirk case, the simplest explanation would be, listen, this is not some shadowy Zionist cabal or secret code hidden in Utah state flag concerning the bees, okay? What is known is that a deranged man murdered Charlie Kirk. Like, we all saw it happen. We saw that. All of that other stuff, well, it may come from the floor. There was no exit wound. So his wife is in on it too. She lying. When we heard her talk about the bullet and how it was retrieved and how Charlie Kirk's body stopped it, so she's making it up, is she? And now the law enforcement, They're now trying to build a case to ensure justice. That is the reality. Everything else is just clickbait designed to keep to make you feel like you're getting some sort of insider truth from a woman who wishes she was Mrs. Erica Kirk. She wishes she was named as the point woman in charge to lead TPUSA. That's how I feel. I told y'all that in my live stream the other day. She sounds like a jilted lover that is hell-bent on destroying what Charlie built because she's no longer a part of it. There is some wickedness coming out of her mouth, and she is functioning like controlled opposition, talking like an outsider, but cashing in like an insider, right? She's sowing mistrust in every institution. I get it, but we can't trust nobody. The parents are lying. The little gay boy trans roommate is lying. All them people, them students there, they lying too. Everybody's lying. She's sowing mistrust while claiming that she's just asking questions. My question is, well, how come your questions have no definitive answers? And how come your questions make everyone question Charlie Kirk's pastor, who, might I add, spoke at his memorial, but you didn't? Why does it make everyone out to be the bad guy except for you? Frank Turek, a Christian apologist that we all know, all of a sudden he in on it too. So Frank Turek, his pastor, could it be, like I said, could it be that she is just the lone wolf destroyer that wants to see TPUSA fail? Are we leaving room for the possibility of that? Could it be that she is the mouthpiece of deception? I don't have a dog in this fight. I ain't on nobody's payroll. Let's make that clear. This is Standard House Media. I runs this. I don't work for Daily Wire. I don't work for TPUSA. I don't work for Blexic. I work for nobody. April worked for April. Oh, I've worked for April since 2012. Let's be clear. It is my duty, though. I am a Christian. I am a believer. I name Charlie based on his public profession and the way he lived his life and ran his race to the end. That is my brother in Christ. So as a believer, when I see foolishness out here like this, I got to mark those who cause division. I got to mark you. So I have a question, though, for the audience. Name a claim that she has made that's been resolved. I'll wait. Name a claim that she's made that's been resolved. It's so much and it's piled up so much. I know you forgot. You can't even remember the early claims. Name a claim that's been resolved. Nothing she has said has been resolved. Nothing she has said has ever been proven. But sure enough, she just keeps the fog rolling, right? And tells the audience that everybody's lying except for her. The Bible warns against this. We are told so that we may no longer be tossed to and fro by waves and carried about by every wind of doctrine, by human cunning, by craftiness in deceitful schemes. That's Ephesians 4:14. Name a claim that's been resolved, that we can move on in the affirmative and say, okay, now we've settled that. Let's move on to the next one. She got the bob and weave. You can't catch her. You're like, oh, where we at? You'll never know where to find her next. Oh, can we just go back to the letter? I ain't even saying go back to the beginning. Can we go back to the letter? Her own friend asked, without naming her name, are you going to retract this? I know. Why does this matter? Some of you may be asking, April, well, why not just ignore her? Y'all right. Listen, to be honest, when you are dealing with a narcissist, you really should ignore them. You shouldn't give them any attention. But two things can be true at the same time. If too many of us are silent, deception spreads. It's like gangrene. I was Googling today. There are news outlets in India reporting what she's reporting because they trying to keep up. Just articles. They're just like, here's the next conspiracy. We're just trying to keep up. Everybody trying to keep up. Can't nobody catch her. Narcissists, listen, they don't just ruin their own platform. They weaken the whole movement. And they do it by planting mistrust in leaders. They sow suspicion among believers. You got believers dividing over this. And then they profit from the chaos. And so I'm like, somebody's got to speak out. I do believe, whether intentional or not, that Candace is functioning like controlled opposition. Now, I have no evidence of that, but I don't know what else to make of this. This is when it hit me that she might be doing that. When the Macrons spoke to President Trump and was like, can you get the little Project Ponytail chick to shut her mouth? I really don't appreciate what she's saying about me. And Trump sends her, I can't remember if he called her or sent her a text message. She turned it into content. Who does that? The president of these here United States has asked you personally, can you fall back? Can you not? And instead, she breaches the trust of the president. I mean, if that's not professional malpractice and just professional suicide, I don't know what is. That's when I was like, she is controlled opposition. She actually went to her audience and said that. And I was like, this is a narcissist move is to, well, look at me. I've got heads of state asking me to be quiet. And I'm like, you have no idea. You might need the president's help one day. And if he's reaching out to you and he's asking you, can you just chill? Like, ain't you being sued? Can you just chill? And instead you double down. I'm like, wow, you crazy. She's functioning as an instrument to divide conservatives at the very moment that we should be united.